Now, we have to go over some more details with the exponents. One of the things that you need to realize is that when we're dealing with exponents, the exponents are always applied to the bracket or the number that is directly beside it. So in this case, we see for -4 squared, the thing that's being affected directly is everything in this bracket, right? So what we would write immediately is we would write the following. -4 times -4, which is +16. And then what we'd look at is this one here. The next problem here has a negative -4 to the 2. Notice how I'm saying it. -4 to the exponent 2. So what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to actually just apply this to the actual number 4, not the negative sign. So now we literally have the following. -4 times 4, which gives us -16. And that's why sometimes you would have seen problems that would have something like this. Now, for the next problem that we have here, 6x all raised to the 0. Notice I say 6x all raised to the 0 because it's in a bracket. Just like before, you gotta realize the exponent is being applied to whatever is directly beside it. So in this case, what's directly beside it is everything in the bracket. So if you think about what's happening, the 6 to the x gets destroyed. And remember, anything to the exponent 0 is just 1, so we end up with 1. When we have 6x to the exponent 0, we're actually saying we have 6x and x to the exponent 0. The 0 is just being applied to the x. So we still have 6, and then the x to the 0 turns into a 1, which means our final answer is 6. So now we have to go take a look at the base in brackets. Let's take a look at that right now. So if our base starts in brackets, we have to keep the brackets until we evaluate it. It's very true when the base is negative. It's very, very important. So let's work through this problem. So if the bases are in brackets, then we apply the base exactly the same way we did before. So we now have -2 raised to the, well, let me just write it in blue. 4 minus, wait a second. Not -2. This is what you guys make a mistake with, and I sometimes make it too. Minus -2. You punch this part here in your calculator and find out what that answer is. And you would find out that you'd have -2 all raised to the power of 6 in the end. And notice how I have to continue putting on my -2 in a bracket. Now when I raise that, we get -2 to the +64. When I raise -2 to the 6, we get +64. Now, we're going to talk about how we deal with fractions in this next problem. So you notice how we have this fraction, 3/4. We have to make the exponent here positive before we can do anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to immediately take a look at our problem, and we're going to immediately flip it. So we're going to get 4/3. Now everything is raised to the power of, you guessed it, +3. So the moment that I flip my fraction, or the moment I move my fraction down or up, the exponent becomes +3, or positive numbers. So now we have, well, 4 to the 3 divided by 3 to the 3 because all we've just done is taken the 3 and applied to the top and the bottom of the fraction. And now we get the following answer. Well, 4 cubed is 64, and 3 cubed is 27. And now what we'll do is we'll take a look at the next page. Now, the next page of work is good. Combining all the rules that we've used. We're going to use the power of a power, multiplying and dividing, and we're going to use negative exponents all at the same time. So basically what you want to do is if you're dealing with a fraction like we have right here for number 3, what you want to do is you want to simplify the top and simplify the bottom first. Once you've done that, you should be fine. And then you start using your power of a power or your multiply or your divide. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the top and the bottom of this fraction. This top portion has a power of a power, so I'm actually going to do that, and then I'm going to go and simplify the bottom on the very next line. So now when we use power of a power, we get 8, we get x to the, well, negative 8 times negative 2 is 16. And on the bottom, we're going to have x to the 4 minus negative 3, which gives us x to the 7, because it's subtraction, because of the division sign that exists between these two x's. So now that I have a division on the top and bottom, my final answer is going to be x to the 9. And look at that. My exponent is a positive, and we are done. Every time we're looking for these answers, we're always going to try and ensure that our final answers always have a positive exponent on it. And then if we have numbers, we're going to apply those positive numbers to the base. Now, if they are numbers. So now, here's what we're going to do. This next problem has 2 to the negative 1 divided by 2 to the 5. When we simplify, you can think of this as just 2 to the, well, negative 6. Now, if you want to make sure you understand what's going on here, we've got a 2 raised to the negative 6. We can look at a 2 as a fraction. We can write that 2 as 2 over 1, can't we? And we can still raise it to the negative 6. And so once we've done that, we now know what to do. We have a fraction raised to a negative power. All we have to do is write 1 over 2 to the 6. And now we just apply the 6 to both the top and the bottom. So we got 1 to the 6th over 2 to the 6th. So we get as our final answer 1 over 64. Now, for the next problem, it seems that we have power of a power, a division, a times, and yeah, that's it. So all we have to do, the first thing we have to do is we're going to have to apply power of a power to the first part, and then we'll see what we have. Let's do that, shall we? So the next line of this first problem is going to be 5 to the 6. And then we're going to write divided by 5 to the negative 8 times 10. Not 10. 5 to the 10. So now, if you're smart, what you do is you combine the first two because we have division between them. So 5 to the 6 divided by 5 to the negative 8 gives us 5 to the 14. And then we have timesing it by 5 to the 10. So now, when we have multiplication, we add our exponents. We have 5 to the 24. And this number's too big, So leave your answer as 5 to the exponent 24, and you're done. Now, let us move to question D on this page. Question D has a peculiar problem. We have a mixture of power of a power, negative exponents, and, well, yeah, powers without bases with no power, with no exponent. So let's go and remedy that. Anytime you see something, anytime you see any numbers inside a bracket that's raised to something on the outside, I tend to always write a power of 1 to remind me that I have to apply the power of 1 with whatever is on the outside as well, because that 1 is applied to the 4, and the 4 is applied to the negative 4, and the 4 is applied to the 6. So what we're going to get here is an interesting problem. We're going to, first of all, fix my screen here because I don't like this blue that's showing up on my screen. It's upsetting me right now. Now, just like I said, the 4 is being applied here, here, and here inside the bracket because of the power of a power rule. So basically, we're going to have, well, 1 times 4 gives 4, so we have 3 to the 4. We're going to have x to the negative 4 times 4, 16, and y to the 24, because 6 times 4 is 24. Now, once we've done that, we have to imagine our entire problem is all over 1. And the reason why we do that is because of this ugly x to the 16. So originally you would have had 3 to the 4, blah, 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 blah. 3 to the 4, x to the negative 16, y to the 24. But because of the x to the 16, we have to find some way to go and make that a positive power. And that's why we go and make that fraction. So the moment we make that fraction, we end up with 3 to the exponent 4. Well, the x to the 16 doesn't stay at the top. It's going to be moved to the bottom. So we're left with on the top y to the 24 divided by x to the 16. So now that I have everything, all of my variables in the right place, I'm going to go and get rid of that 3 to the 4 and actually apply it. So now we're going to find out what 3 to the 4 is. Punch out your calculator, and then what you're going to write is 81 y to the 24 divided by x to the 16. Now, your homework for today is lesson 2, more exponent homework. Is more exponent. So you'll see that on the website. Download it. Your teacher will give you a copy of it if it's not there. Okay? Take care. Have a good day.